exercises and then progress to the speed, agility. But I can see from the videos that some kids probably are, I don't know, maybe 6 or maybe 8 years old, something around that age, and they are doing jumping exercises, sprinting exercises.
Like even 5-on-0, doing sets, running back and forth, running back and forth. In some sort of way, it can be endurance. It can be aerobic conditioning. If you're running from, I don't know, for a long time, it can be a great recovery.
And it's very good for us coaches to understand and implement that to the basketball players, as you said, like the hip turns, when to do crossover, when to shuffle. So all of these things. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Basketball, Body and Mind. Today I am joined by Žilvinas Kriukovas, a strength and conditioning coach who currently is working in Shanghai. Žilvinas has worked with Lithuanian under 16, 17 national teams and will be leading this year with under 18. He has experience coaching in both Lithuanian top league and second leagues. Also, he has really nice Instagram page that you can learn a lot from. So I recommend to check it out for everyone. Žilvinas, really nice to connect with you finally. And
wow, thanks for the plug for Instagram. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Hello to all the listeners and hello Stan. Again, thank you for the invite. Pleasure to be here.
So tell me, you are in China right now. What is your role? What do you do there? Who do you work with?
All right, so I work in a private business basketball club. That's how they call our organization. It's called Green Fighters. So I'm a physical performance coach, and I'm responsible for working with kids, with teenagers, to make them better, to make them jump higher, run faster. And yeah, that's my work here.
Yes. So you are working with kids, and when you say kids, what age are we talking? 5 years old?
Yeah, the average, I would say, the top of that bell curve would be like 11 or 10 years. We have the teenagers that we have usually are, let's say, 13 years old, because when they are 15, 16, they are leaving to Singapore, to United States, to Canada, if they are very good players, they go to sports schools. That means like proper sport academies, proper basketball academies, where they go like 5-6 times work out in a week.
But then my question would be, how is it, how different for you now? You were with, let's say, top Lithuanian players at 17 years old, and then you were also working at the highest Lithuanian league, and now you're working with the kids. So what challenges, because I have worked with 8 to 9 years old, and it was really challenging for me to coach them. So what kind of challenges do you have before we talk more about the strength conditioning? Are there any like fights between them, or because you will not expect that to see in
plenty of challenges, because before coming here I barely worked with kids. Yes, when I was working in second division in Lithuania, I had one day per week when I had kids, and it was like whole team. And here it's less kids. It's maximum 8 kids in a group, but it's usually less kids because of different things and so on. But yeah, I do have 6-year-old kids that I'm working with. I have 7, I have 8, I have 9. So that was a challenge for me, what I can do that I know how to do with adults and put that into a kid profile. And at the same time, what can I do something new? Like, not everything, kids don't need to lift barbells on the back or whatever. Of course, that's not my thing to put a barbell on the back, but still,
yes,
it's a bit different. And to make it fun, at the same time, to make it fun enough to fit the Chinese profile, because what Chinese basketball is interesting, that they are pretty strict. They don't say no. I'm talking about parents. I'm talking about parents and how they educate the kids. Parents are strict, even though those parents who are more, like, let's say they were studying in America, in the United States, they are more informed, more educated. They are softer, more, let's say, westernized. They don't beat kids. But there are some parents in China that are still strict. The way that maybe our parents were taught, the physical punishments and so on. So that's the very interesting thing to work in China, to make it fun, at the same time to be strict. So the parents like how you work, the management likes how you work, the kids like how you work, the kids have fun, and the parents like how you work. So it is a very interesting thing and very hard thing to find the
Yes.
middle, how to do things that I want them to do, that I know what they should do. I know what I can give them, what I learned before, and also what I need to learn. So that was for me what I had so many things to learn
Yes.
when I came here. Many things I learned.
Yes. It has to be also fun. But let's talk now about the hopefully a little bit easier topic, or let's say maybe not easier, but more that tangible strength and conditioning. But now we can talk about older people, not about the kids who are, let's say, up to 12 years old, but let's talk above 12, even more. And what are the core principles that guide your strength and conditioning program when we are talking specifically for basketball?
The core principles, I would say number one principle would be fundamentals and technique. I don't like to see players butchering the technique. I want them to do good. And second thing in my philosophy would be to understand what is the weight room and what weight room is improving. And I heard a very good quote that weight room is building a hardware and skills are a software. And that, I think that is a good example, that the good separation, that the weight room is building the hardware. Like in computer, you have like graphics cards, and it depends, that thing depends how good your computer is, but also you cannot work with bad software
Yes.
system. So here, that would be an extra new thing to my philosophy. I had it before, but now I have the exact words for that. So fundamentals, and to know the difference between hardware and software. And lastly, maybe now I'm moving more to movement. Before that, I was more into a gym guy, more weights, more jumping with the weights, and everything resisted and so on. But now I'm more, after completing a basketball speed course by Lee Taft. I'm pretty sure you know this guy. I really recommend to any coach
Yes.
who's working in sport where you need to stand on legs. So I recommend to any coach to check him out. And after that, I have now more knowledge about defensive shuffles, hip turns, change direction, acceleration, stopping. So now I'm adding more of that stuff, adding resistance to that stuff. And then I'm trying to find a good middle of movement and lifting. So I try to adjust also what player needs.
Yes. Yes, movements and lead aft. I did that course. It's very good for us coaches to understand and implement that to the basketball players, as you said, like the hip turns, when to do crossover, when to shuffle. So all of these things. But you mentioned first fundamentals. So what do you mean by fundamentals first?
I mean, to check out what kind of base the player has. Does he know? Because weight room is a skill. To be able to lift, to be able to do all the movements that you need in the weight room, it is a skill base. So to check out what kind of skills you have, like coach scouts a player, what kind of dribbling, shooting skills he has. So that's the way I scout, quote unquote, a player, a athlete, what kind of skills he has in weight room. So fundamentals, squatting, pulling exercises, pull-ups, pushings,
yes,
even push-ups can be a great test. If a player is used to bench pressing, doing dumbbell bench press, but maybe he lacks strength to even do a push-up. I rarely understand how that's possible, but that's our big body and that's our complex body, how there are players that are very strong on bench press and they can barely do 10 correct push-ups. I'm not saying 10 incorrect. 10 incorrect are the easy ones, but 10 correct push-ups.
Yes.
That's a great way to check fundamentals.
You know about those push-ups every time. No, I will not say every time. Often when I see basketball players doing push-ups on the court, maybe they lost a game, like in the practice. So maybe they lost a game, or it was like a penalty that they have to do 5 or 10 push-ups. You can see so many different variations of the push-ups. Like one is just going all the way down and just at the bottom part of the push-up, just doing those like up and down a few centimeters, or some are just bending their head. Is like it's crazy what kind of variations you can see, and you would say, okay, that person
Yeah,
definitely skipped
I seen
fundamental
kids,
parts.
especially when working now, when you ask them to do push-ups, and coaches punish kids for by doing push-ups and give them to do, let's say, 10 push-ups,
Yes.
and they just do vibrations. I call them vibrations because they're just put the hands on the ground. They just vibrate for like 1 centimeter down. Yeah, so it's a great way to. It is a skill. Push-up is a skill. You want it or not, but it requires strength, requires I don't know, coordination, balance. It requires many things,
Yes.
and
Co-
yeah, but it's just a tool in toolbox.
Yes, and one of the things I saw in your on your IG that you are working with the kids, but one of the things that I noticed that you don't only push, and now I understand better why, that you don't only push the strength part in the kids, and many people are saying we have to start with the strength exercises and then progress to the speed, agility. But I can see from the videos that some kids probably are, I don't know, maybe 6 or maybe 8 years old, something around that age, and they are doing jumping exercises, sprinting exercises. So why do you do that? Why you don't listen to the other
So
coaches?
I will not say that I'm not listening because I'm doing strength exercises. My kids, my let's say 9-year-old kids, doing lunges, but they're doing it body weight. My 6-year-old kids, by my I mean my athletes, my 6-year-old kids are doing lunges also. So it is a strength exercise. They're doing squats, but I'm just trying to find a fun way to do it. They let's say kids are holding a cone, and a cone has a tennis ball on top. They do a lunge. If the ball goes down, they get some sort of punishment or they lose health points. I try to gamify. I
Yes.
do health points. Then it's easy to understand them. What it means to do a
Hmm.
mistake and not be immediately punished and have a chance to learn. So I do some strength. I have a strength part, but then I
Hmm.
do, yeah, like you said, I do agility. I do running. I think that's a great moment to teach them because their brains. Everyone knows this example that kid brain is like a sponge that absorbs everything. So I think it's the same in weight room, same in physical performance training. Everything you give them, they absorb it very quickly. It takes only a few sets to learn, usually, or get some kind of fundamental base.
Hmm.
I'm not saying master it, but just learn the base. And to add more and more speed, usually it takes only a few sets, like I said. So I think jumping, because jumping is really
Hmm.
easily progressible. Jump higher, that's a progression. Jump quicker, that's progression. Jump further, raise the obstacle, make the hurdle bigger, jump from side to side, jump
Yes.
back. So it's very easily progressible exercise. You don't need to think too much. You just give kids jumps, and kids love to jump. Whatever, let's say I do an exercise, I'll give an example. I do an exercise where they have to just run. Let's say just some kind of acceleration drill. And on the side, there's a grass turf where I place my hurdles. And kids, when I ask them to run and walk back, that's a very hard challenge for them to walk back because I want to go the textbook way for them to run, relax, rest a bit, and then run again. But kids
Hmm.
barely can handle the relaxation part. Yeah,
Rest.
they want to run and
Yes.
run back, run and run back. Then you have to explain them in a fun, not like in them understandable way what is endurance, what is speed and power. But let's get back to the hurdles. So when they're walking back, if they're walking back, they are just jumping over the hurdles. I'm not asking them to do that. They just like to do that. They just like to jump over the hurdles. So that only
Hmm.
shows that they are still kids. They like to jump. You can look at kids in the playground. They're jumping, they're running, they're chasing that has changed direction. So fundamentals, like you said, those are the fundamentals also for me.
Yes, wrapping around some fun part, as you said, like doing some strength work, but also we maybe competing a little bit and running and walking backwards can be also fun because you probably rarely walk, not you, but you in general way, walking backwards.
I have kids. I will not say, I will not hide that I'm not doing any strength. Yeah, I have kids who are 11
Hmm.
years old. They're squatting, doing goblet squat with a 10 kilograms, but I'm not going much more. There was a time when I started working in this exact club. I saw that because it was honestly my first time working with kids in the weight room. That means they run and lift, not only run like I used to work with. So I saw that they're very good with the weights. That means you give them 2 kilograms, the next session they might be able to do the same with 4. Next session might be 6. So, but later I understood what's the point of me going up, 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 up and down, up, 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 when I'll have to go down some way and put them a barbell on the back because the weight will be too heavy to hold, or there'll have to be some kind of different variation of exercise. So I thought maybe let's work on owning the range. It means let's do a squat, let's go down, be able to be active at the bottom. And I tell the kids, I use this coaching cue, not a nice one, but I tell them that you're not sitting on a toilet, and we have all the kids laugh, and they understand what it means. It means you're not relaxing at the bottom. You go down into the squat, you press the ground just a bit, and you stay active. You tell them that your legs might be burning. I'm not looking exactly for that burden, but again, it helps for them to know what they should feel and what is correct way to do.
So look, now let's again come back to the little bit older people, and maybe you can either think about the national teams or you can think about your clubs when you're starting. But I'm curious, since the fundamental and movements are important for you, what kind of assessments do you carry with your players? What is important for you to see? Are you checking for ranges of motion in certain exercises? Are you checking just movement technique in the weight room? What assessments do you do?
Are we talking about at the moment, or are we talking about adults and teenagers?
Let's talk about not about the kids right now, but or maybe you could share if maybe you did not do something a year ago, but since you have developed yourself in this year, so maybe you say, okay, when I will be working with, let's say, older or with the national team, I will be doing these things because I believe these are things that are important. So what you are assessing?
So let's go maybe quickly for the kids. What I do here now, the tests are pretty easy. It's broad jump. That means a long jump, how far they can jump from one spot to the other. Other one is 5-10-5 agility test. That means they run 5 meters, 10 meters back, and 5 meters. We use our speed gates for that, but I'm pretty sure everyone can use a just simple timer for that. And we're using 10-meter acceleration because that's how much space we have. Otherwise, they would crash into the walls. But those are free tests that we do. Also, I do counter movement jump like each month or each 2 months, but I'm not. That's not the goal that I'm chasing. So that's why I'm not testing it so often. It is more to show a progress for the parents, to show the results. So those free ones are the most important for kids for me because they are easily doable, and you can do it even honestly at home. You can do that. You can use my jump app for jumping. You can do just simple stopwatch for 10 meters. You can use simple ruler for jumping and doing broad jump. So those are the tests that I do with kids. And to move on to teenagers, well, let's say the teenagers that I worked in was mostly national team. So as you know, national team is a different beast. So the test that we did, because I already had 2 national teams and tests were a bit different. First national team, I did endurance. I started with counter movement jump, just simple one, just hands on hips, jump up. Secondly, 10-meter sprint, if I'm pretty sure it's 10-meter sprint. And then we did endurance test called 30-15 IFT. So it is a test where the players, it's like beep test that everyone knows. It is the typical, very similar to beep test. They run 30 seconds, for 15 seconds they rest, and they go on faster. Next year, we took that away because me and the head coach, we talked, do we really need that? Because it's every minute in national team is worth gold because you have very limited time and you have very limited resources. And the main resource is players' energy. That's the main resource because you're training 2 times per day. And it's very easy to lose that energy. And that test is hard. I know what it means. I did that test by myself 2 times. After that, I got Achilles tendinopathy in my Achilles. So I know what it means. So I know what it means. I know how hard it is to reach your maximum, and it takes a lot of energy. So that one we cut it out for previous year. Let's say for the second national team. But when I checked this year I was reading a book. I really recommend that book. It is now on my table. It's called There is More Than One Way to Skin a Cat. I'm pretty sure you know that book. It's by Lucas Willer and many other coaches answering one question. So it's like one question, different coaches, one question, same coaches, one question, same coaches. And in that book, there was a question about endurance, and one coach, this Roberto Yetzi, answered about endurance. He said that he's using 30-15 IFT endurance test. And honestly, that was my mistake because I used that test and I did not know what I was looking for. That's like, okay, they completed the test. What now? So I did not even do any research. But now, what I saw in that book, he was the only one that said, and the goal was to reach level 19. And I checked our under 16 Excel sheet where we have our goals, our scores of that test. And this was, I have some anecdotal evidence, let's say like this, that those kids that were out of the team, that means there were 16 players at the beginning and 4 players were out, and then you have your final 12. Those 4 players, mostly of them had not reached level 19 or reached level 19, or compared to the others, they were the worst in that test. And for adults, it is more complex, and also depends. You work in the club, you're working with what kind of adults you're working in, what kind of logistics you have, what kind of test equipment you have. So what I did when I worked in the first league was counter movement jump, a squat jump. I did a drop jump. I did a 10-meter acceleration. And I think that was it.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for sharing the possible ways to do that, even at home. As you said, like download the My Jump app that you can measure your jump, and you can be following that once a week. If you're doing just by yourself,
sure,
perfect.
very easy.
I mean, it's super easy. If you have a whole team, so then it's difficult to go by frame and calculate the jump. And about the conditioning, I think the first time I heard was Jure Draxler. If I remember correctly, he was the one who mentioned in Lucas Willer podcast like 4 years ago or something. He mentioned that he is, I don't remember exactly, either 18.5 or 19.5 kilometers per hour that he wants to reach. So that stage he wants to reach, and if players have reached that level, they just stop. If you have not reached that level, you know that you need to do extra conditioning for that specific player, and the other ones are good. Of course, as you say, it's not the reason why they were cut from the national team, but it's just interesting coincidence.
Exactly, it is coincidence. I would say, interesting coincidence.
Yes. So we talked about the assessments, but then about the working. Now just think about the youth players that you were working, but maybe when you are with youth players, I'm talking about when you are in the professional team and you have some youth players and older players. How does the preparation or exercises or your thought process, how does it differ when you work with someone who is young and who is older?
Yeah, let's say if we're talking about a team that has both young players, youth players, and adult, it's 2 different things to work on. Youth players have time, usually they have energy, they have the youth, they have the age, they have the energy, like they don't feel any pain in their joints. Any dunk feels easy for them, doesn't require lots of effort. And for adults, everything is hard. You need more recovery. Everything you will do in the weight room will cost you energy. And energy is number 1 resource, like I said. So working with youth and adults at the same time, youth players, I would say, can do more, let's say, heavy stuff, learn something new. You can try on them, Olympic lifting. And the difference to adults, they don't have time to learn. Their goal is to be available. That's the best power, the best thing is to be available. That means you need to help them, maybe not to improve them too much because they are already at that level. They are usually at elite level. They are veterans. They played so many years. Sometimes they might know even more than you because they've seen many coaches, and if they are smart, they were open-minded to learn something. They learned a lot from them. So your goal is to maintain that, then maintain their availability. Like I said, I will mention that word, but I think it's very important to them just stay healthy. You don't need to don't fix what has not been broken. There's a saying. So you don't need to fix it. You just need to maintain. And for youth teams, for youth players, pretty easy. You can say that everything's broken in the same way, like in quote unquote, everything's broken because nothing is already built. Yeah, there is some kind of base, but the base is so clean with no walls, or with just a part of the walls are being built, that you can build so much on them. You can get them way better. They can tolerate the load way better. If you compare 5 sessions per week for young player and for older player, for a veteran player, those 5 will feel way different for them. So the difference is young player can do everything. Old player, not old player, veteran player, older player has to maintain. One has to improve, one has to maintain.
Yes, good points, and focus more on the recovery. Not to say that youth players don't have to focus on recovery, but probably the biggest factor that will influence the older player will be the recovery. While for the younger player, since his or her recovery is significantly better, so then your limiting factor can be not the recovery, but that you are not training enough. But then let's move to the next part, which is specifically for that. So if those walls are not built, how can we build those walls now when we're talking about the improving strength? Because that is the first thing that usually we would be focusing on. But how can we improve strength?
Yeah, it depends also, I think, in what kind of organization you are. If you are in elite level team, in Eurocup team, let's say EuroLeague team, they have more young players, or even first league. Let's stick to that kind of level. That means those players might stay a few years, so you have time for them. And if you're working in, let's say, EuroLeague, those players will leave. So your goal is to make them better now. And if you're working in some kind of basketball academy, you have plenty of time. If you're working with 16-year-old players, you have 2 years. If you're working with younger players, you will know then that they will stay there for 3-4 years. You can take it easy. You can teach them the quote unquote fundamentals that we said so many times today. You can teach Olympic lifts. You have plenty of time for that. You can go into very hard stuff, into very difficult stuff, because you have time. So it depends also on context. And to be more specific, more exact, building strength, I think, yes, to use the basic stuff, the squats, the lunges, the RDLs, hinges, to teach basic movements. At the same time, what I really like is slow stuff. That means using isometrics to teach different angles, to make players to own the low range. It means to sit down very low or be in very low lunge and sit down there and stay longer, to be able to own that, to do some jumps. That is a bit very trendy right now, deep tier plyometrics, to do jumps in deep ranges. So the stuff, I want to be more exact, and so strength, there's time to progress. There's time to periodize, to go even light strength. So depends again on context.
Yes, but it always depends on the context. So maybe my question could be a little bit more specific. If somebody wants to improve strength, they say the coach says to them, "You're not strong enough. You're not physical enough." How can someone like who is, let's say, age 16 to 18 years old, approaching the senior level soon, and they hear this, that you're not physical enough, what can they do, in your opinion? Like, do we just go and do the bench press to improve that physicality?
That could be a tool, but also you need to take a look at what kind of position they are. I'm talking about playing position. If they are number 5 and they need to push around, yes, then heavy strength is a way to go, I think, because pushing a player is a maximal, you can call an isometric push, because you push and you cannot move a player, or you can just barely move him. So maximal isometrics, where you're trying to move a stuff that you cannot move. I'm talking about, of course, overcoming isometrics. So to get stronger, again, like I said, heavy stuff. I believe in heavy stuff. If it is bilateral drill, that means 2-leg drill. Trap bar deadlift, to just stand up with a trap bar, you can put on lots of load and it's heavy. If the player is good, when I say it's good, that means if the player is good at that drill, if his all limb lengths allow him to do it good, the back is not like too curved, and I'm talking about back curves that usually players cannot control because they're too long, or the arms are very, let's say, short, torso is long. That's different. That's like different planet you need to talk about. So heavy stuff.
Yes.
I would say heavy stuff, trap bars to lift. Yes, can be barbell bench press. Maintain some time to learn the push-ups, the pull-ups. I think pull-ups is a great way because it's easy to progress and you're getting your upper body, almost like full upper body strength. Push-ups can be a great tool to get stronger, like your coach, let's say, said. So heavy stuff, but heavy loaded fundamental stuff.
Yes. To throw some standards, these are standards that I was copying the other coaches from USA, like Dan John, Mike Boyle. They write in their book. So for someone to know what we coaches, or at least let's say I will talk about myself, how strong is strong enough is if you can do 10 reps with half of your body weight push-ups. So if I'm 80, so I have 40 kilograms on my back and I can do 10 push-ups, that's good. If you can do half of your body on your kind of in the pull-ups, half of your body hanging extra, so 40 kilos extra, and I can do one chin-up, so palms facing me all the way. So that is what we consider strong enough. If you can do that, most likely you will, you are
I would say that's crazy strong. If you look at elite athletes, I'm pretty sure there are some elite adults playing in NBA, playing in EuroLeague that can barely do a few pull-ups. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, but then why they are in there? Maybe they're crazy good at something else. That's why they are. So maybe they're lacking the physical part. But when you say crazy, I have these standards that for every single movement, like trap bar, Bulgarian split squat, and squats, everything. But I have the standard, and the standard is if you can do 5 reps of Bulgarian split squat with your body weight, so in my case, 80 kilos, so I think that you are strong enough. But then I hear Coach Mike G is talking about Drew Holiday. And he said, yeah, Drew Holiday can do Bulgarian split squat with 200, I will be butchering this, 265 pounds. So that would be 120, let's say, kilos. And I was like, that's impressive. And then he says, for 20 reps.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
I'm like, what? Yes. So this is, of course, we cannot use him as example because he probably are exception to the rule. He's like extraordinary. However, we need to understand that there is different level. If you using, 2 10s in Bulgarian split squat, this is just an example. If you're using 2 10s or maybe 2 15s and you're like, oh, that's difficult. I'm thinking now about one of my assistant coaches that we worked with, and he was using 2 15s and he's like, that's difficult. I'm kind of strong. And then I said, take more on the same session. I said, take more. He went to 2 35s and he said, now it's difficult. So he doubled the weight in the same session. I mean, he was not able to walk for next days, but it can happen to athletes too. So when we are thinking about the strength, it can be at a different level. Of course, as you said, we don't want sacrifice form for that. A little bit went to the
No, it's all right. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. And after we're done with podcasts, like you promised me, I will be happy to see those standards that you have, because Now rarely I do any.
Yes,
Yeah, now I rarely
I
use
can
any
say yes.
standards because I'm at the moment where I don't need it. I don't need my kids to be able to lift half of their body weight. I just want to teach stuff. And yeah, of
Yes.
course, I have sometimes there are professional players coming up to work with me. I have like NCAA players sometimes coming up to work with me, but rarely I do have so much time that I would focus on the numbers,
Hmm.
and I will care more about that he improved a bit by lifting the weights and not the weight that he was lifting. But if I'm working in some kind of basketball academy and I have plenty of time, plenty of kids, yeah, then I can do it, and I would be happy to reach those numbers that you said. Those numbers sound like crazy good, crazy big,
Yes.
and but that yeah, that needs exact good context and time.
Yes. It's why I do believe it's important to know that, because if you, for the kid, you say, just do more. How much? Just do more strength. So it's never
Yeah,
ending part, but you know that there is diminishing returns, meaning if you will do too much of that, your performance will go down. I'm not saying your performance will go all the way up until you can do those pull-ups with half of your body weight hanging. But when you have the ending point, I found that it's much easier for them to motivate them to do those exercises. But you know what? Let's move to the conditioning a little bit, because you said that we can spend more talking about the strength part. But you said about the conditioning that maybe it's enough to do that certain level of the conditioning and then stop. So if someone, if you will execute that in the national team or in the other club at some point when you will be working, when somebody will not reach, how can we work conditioning for basketball? How can we improve that? Any ideas what
yeah,
you could
I
do?
am the guy that is chasing the trend that says conditioning should be on the basketball court. Conditioning, the basketball is the best conditioning. That's the second quote, and I agree with that. I agree with that.
Hmm.
Also, at the same time, it's an easy way for us coaches to say, because it feels like we're giving off all the work to the basketball coaches. Yeah, the good basketball court is good for endurance. All right, you take it. You're the basketball coach, you know what to do. But no, it's not like this. How I usually work in national team, I think that's the best example, because you really fast need to improve the endurance. So I just tell the coaches what kind of practice we need. That means, are we using half court? We're using full court. Are we running 3 minutes? Are we running only 20 seconds? We're running only 5 seconds. How long we're going to rest? How long they're going to sit on the bench? How long you will try to talk? Like, hey coach, how long you will try to talk? So we don't. So it's not like we work 20
Yes.
seconds and then you talk 10 minutes. You show the drill. You show the set for 10 minutes, and then they work 20 seconds again. You stop them. So that is, I think, for physical coach, that is a job to do. You need to control everything. And to getting back to the point, the best endurance is playing basketball. I really believe that. Of course, it does not mean to play 5-on-5 all the time. No, there are small-sided games, 3-on-2, 2-on-2, 3-on-4, and so on. You can start with like even 5-on-0, doing sets, running back and forth, running back and forth. In some sort of way, it can be endurance. It can be aerobic conditioning. If you're running from, I don't know, for a long time, it can
For
be
sure.
a
For
great
sure.
recovery. And it's used even like without thinking. Coaches are using it as a recovery. Let's say you have a game, and next day you have a game. In the morning, if you have a shoot around, you will do the quote unquote walk around. You will walk the drills, or you will jog, not the drills, the sets, or you will jog them. So that's going to be a aerobic recovery tool. So best endurance on the basketball court.
Hmm. To, yes, I like it very much, because in order to be good at basketball, you really need
Yeah.
to play basketball. Sometimes you can even say, just play a little bit harder. Maybe have full core defense. Just sprint every time you run, like transition offense, defense, whatever. Just run a
Yeah.
little bit faster, and you will improve your conditioning. Of course, sometimes you can do some in off season, some extra running outside, but better is definitely to focus on the court, especially in season.
Sure, off season can be a great
It's
way to
much
raise
more
the
advanced.
capacity. Yeah, off season you have plenty of time if the player is not running on the basketball court too much, but I would encourage him to be on the basketball court in summer, even though he's bored of that, but to keep training for the skills. The summer is the best time for that. But on the summer, at the same time, you can run in the stadium as much as you want. You can do longer runs, yes, but it is going to be only running straight. So when you will add change of direction in basketball court, you will suddenly feel that, oh my, I was not ready for this. I was just running straight. Yes, my heart is ready. Yes, my like cardiovascular system is ready. But at the same time, I'm not ready. Maybe my legs are not ready for that. I'm not ready to jump so much. I'm not ready to cut, to change direction. And it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort, and I praise the guys for that, because the more I try that, the more I understand them. So the more you understand how hard it is, the more you understand how your legs are burning, and you want to vomit even when you're preparing. Yeah, so I've seen those things. I've seen players vomiting in forests. At the same time, I've seen coaches doing endurance in the parks, doing running on the stairs. That could be a way to improve endurance, but that's only a tool. It should not be 2 weeks of that. I remember working in one team. It was the beginning of my career, and the head coach used to be responsible for conditioning, and it used to be 10 days of running in the park. That's called a suicide, because it makes you go, it makes all your numbers go down. It has to be exact 10% down, like you're able to predict a human, like he's some kind of a computer. Your numbers have to go down, your jump numbers have to go 10%, and for that to reach, you are going to be running on the stairs, running in the park, running a lot, again on the stairs, park. Some players are vomiting. So I think when you're reaching a vomiting point, I know now after that, I understood that was too much. You don't need to vomit, I think. In basketball court, you will never go so hard that you will be vomiting, because either one, you will ask for sub, you will sit down, relax, drink, and then you go back on the court, or you will slow down, you will ask the coach maybe or the point guard to switch a play. So it's not on you. You can stand in the corner maybe. So I think we need to be smarter about endurance and be smart and use the court, because like you said, players are going to be playing basketball and not running 400 meters around the stadium in the European Championship, let's say.
Yes. Yes, everyone has seen those videos or stories of conditioning, or maybe they have heard the stories of crazy conditioning drills, like doing a suicide on American football field. It's crazy. It's crazy. I will leave comments. I'll leave comments out. But look, let's move to the last part. And I'm changing this part, but right now I think I found a way how I like it to be done. So the questions are fairly short, but your answers can be long or short.
I think you already see that I like to talk and like to wander around. So if you need, just pull me back to the question. Otherwise, I just checked the clock. It's already 1 hour for me. It feels like we just started. So I'm just warning you, pull me in. If you want to be quick, pull me in.
Yes. Okay. Look, when somebody says they're in China, I always think of weird kind of dish. So what is the strangest thing you ate or you tried?
Oh my God, thank you for that. Somebody has asked me, so I can take that off. So a few minutes off my house, there is a barbecue spot, and of course, if you imagine barbecue, it feels like it's for family and so on. But one time I went there with my friend, and there is a fridge. You just take I think it's called a platter, but just let's say metal plate, and there's a fridge, different skewers, so different sticks that has different meat, and you take that meat, put it on this plate, and you give it to the cook. He cooks it and brings it to your table, and you just eat it there and chill. So it feels pretty chill, but you're feeling like you're eating in some kind of garage district, because you can see factories and some cars being repaired. And food, what I've seen there I'll start with easy one. So of course there's beef, chicken, pork, and so on. Then you move into turtles. I've seen turtle meat. proper mini turtles, those small cute turtles that people are growing in their terrariums, those ones on the skewers. Of course, you can see different fishes,
Yes.
like pure fish. Of course, what Chinese people really like is, let's say, we Lithuanians love pig ears as a snack next to some kind of drink. And what they like is chicken feet. So it is very popular, chicken feet. I never tried it because it doesn't look tasty for me. Maybe I will have to try. And if you go to some kind of barbecue, you can order everything. You can order, I don't know, you can order skin. They really like to eat skin. They really like to eat the intestines.
Yeah, so you really had some weird things. Pig is not that weird, but like turtle for me, like having a small turtle,
It's okay. It's like fish,
crazy.
and even the markets you can buy.
Okay, let's move to the basketball. What is the exercise you think every basketball player needs to master? Is there an exercise for you?
Maybe I don't want to say exercise just to say. Maybe lunge, because it's very hard to butcher lunge. Of course, it's possible. You can, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't get good instructions, but it's easy to progress. You can raise the back leg, you can raise the front leg, you can be only on one leg, you can use more weight, you can go faster, you can go slower, jump, and so on. So maybe a lunge, because there's, of course,
Yes.
yeah, of
Lunge
course, I can
is
take for upper body maybe
yes.
pull-ups. If I can take two, so lower body would be lunge, upper body would be pull-ups.
Yes, yes. Very, very good. I believe, yes, every either acceleration, deceleration, change of direction. If we are going for a pull-up, like a jump, meaning shot, not
Yeah.
a pull-up exercise, but for a pull-up. So that is everything goes from the lunge. I like it. I like it. What recovery strategies or tool do you often use or recommend or educate players to use?
All right, so I don't want to go with the, I know with the boring stuff. It's sleep and nutrition. It is boring, but it is, of course, it is the main thing.
Yes.
But the recovery tool to get a bit back, to get a bit around. So I think recovery tool is either a Whoop or a smartwatch that would track your sleep. Because I think these times we start to trust more devices rather than ourselves. So if we don't trust ourselves anymore, let's trust the devices that shows that we sleep bad, that we need to sleep more. And this will help us without even thinking it. Let's put the sleep aside. Sleep is very important. Nutrition, yes, you should eat like an adult. Eating carbs, good carbs, I think is really underrated. Protein, when you count your protein, how much you need protein, that's also hard to get it, especially for big players, for heavy players, or just for young, very tall players, because they weight a lot. So yeah, so sleep, nutrition, and those. What else I got? I don't emphasize foam rolling so much. I don't know, maybe you might do. I will go a bit radical. I think it's a bit waste of time because I believe the more I get into biomechanics, I know that it's not so easy to fix the body by just putting a roller behind your back. And roller is a massage, self massage, honestly. I'm not saying nothing. I give sometimes for my athletes if I see they have time for us to foam roll and we're not going to waste time for that. If let's say I have a strict 1 hour and I don't want to waste, I don't like the word waste, but I don't like to use 5, 10 minutes. If you're rolling for 10 minutes, that's already on you. That's problem on you. But if you're rolling for 5 minutes and you have only 1 hour, all right, you got 55 minutes left. Then you're going to do dynamic warm up. Then let's say 5, 6, 7 minutes out, already 10 minutes out. So when you have strict time, it's better to do something more smart.
Good, good. I mean, I agree with you. I have similar take on the foam roller. However, I still use it, and because only, even though science often does not show the benefit, but just practical evidence while doing with the players, it shows benefit.
Yeah, it feels good. I even though I do it myself, I hug myself and I roll my back. Of course, it feels amazing. But it's only massage. It's the
Yes.
same if I would lay down on table and somebody would rub my back in a good way. So it feels the same.
Yes. So do not take any more of your time. I'll shortly summarize it as I always do in three key kind of takeaways from the conversation. And the first takeaway would be the fundamental first. And I'm not talking only about movement patterns, but also, as you said, about the recovery, that about the sleep, about being able to do nice squat, nice lunge, nice pull-up, push-up, definitely, that we have talked. But first, focus on the fundamentals. Then, an interesting story that you shared about the conditioning. Don't only think about the weight room, that is a key for you to get good at basketball. You also need to do conditioning, and for conditioning, the better would be if you can kind of gamify it a little bit, introduce the basketball court, or maybe you do 3-on-2 or 5-on-0, but just do conditioning on the basketball court. And lastly, maybe it relates mostly to the kids that you were relating mostly to the kids, but I believe it's everywhere. And as Steve Kerr is saying, have fun. Whether it's basketball, whether it's weight room, maybe one day you don't feel like doing something, but maybe put some good music, maybe make an exercise somehow different a bit, but have fun while enjoying this journey of becoming a basketball player, professional.
Those are great points. Who said it? Who said those points? Those are great points.
Who said it? So thank you, Žilvinas, very much for sharing your experience in strength and conditioning for basketball player. Not everyone like you were willing to move across the world to develop young athletes, and it shows that you're dedicated, and the story is inspiring. Players will also most likely need to move abroad. And if they would have any questions to you, or they would like to learn more about you, would Instagram be the best way?
Sure, I will do a shameless plug, like they say. I would like to plug my Instagram. It's Žilvinas_coach, so it's my name, Zilvinas. Yeah,
it will be in the.
All right, so it's my Instagram. Feel free to
in the show notes. So
to contact anyone who's listening right now and still listening to the podcast. I hope somebody's listening. So feel free to contact me. Let's discuss something more, or let me even know. How was the podcast? What did you like? What you did not like? I'm ready to learn. I will tell also Stan what people will message me. So we're both eager to learn about the podcast. Yeah, and follow me on Instagram. Yes. I'll be launching a basketball program for basketball players upcoming month, maybe, and online training, one-on-one online training. So those are my plans. Those are my business plans. So follow me. Stay tuned.
Nice. Yes, definitely go and check. I like it. It's done very professional, so I just recommend. And for everyone else, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode. That is the best way to support us. But for now, keep training basketball, body, and mind.